Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the BlitzKraft server with your host, Nighthawk. I am currently on with Fwip, and we are over here in the ore factory, where, I've been doing a little bit of work. If you remember last time we flew around here, we had the basic layout kind of put together, but didn't really have anything functional. Well, I did a little bit of rearranging. And you'll remember before, last time, this particular area here was going to be designated for the ore processing. And then over on this side here was going to be designated for the gas handling, making the different chemicals and gases. I swapped those, mostly because I wanted it to be a little bit chemicals to be a little bit closer to the salinization plant, and I'm still having a bit of problems with the salination plant. You can see it's getting high temperatures, or the temperatures build up during the day. It ends up eating through all of the water very, very quickly, but the brine output is pretty low, and a lot of that is this multiplier is only 0.6, which means it takes a lot more water to make the brine than really should. And that's apparently biome-based, so I think at some point I'll be building a salination plant somewhere, find the correct biome for it, and just use tesseracts and a chunk loader to keep it going. But for now, if we hop up here, you can see Squatch has been busy on his base, and we're gonna start by doing a little walkthrough of what is going on with this ore processing and all of these various machines here. So, like I said, we start with the salination plant, and this just takes in regular water and converts it into brine. The brine is then piped through here, underground. It comes over into this machine, this electrolytic separator, and this turns the brine into hydrogen and chlorine, which go into this chemical infuser, which takes the hydrogen and chlorine and turns it into hydrogen chloride, which is what we need over here. And this hydrogen chloride is what we need in order to make sulfur. We can go and collect sulfur, and we need to do that as well. But this turns gunpowder into sulfur, and it's part of why we need a lot more brine production. Is right now the sulfur production is really, really slow. Now, the reason why we need the sulfur is so we can stick it in this chemical oxidizer and turn it into sulfur dioxide, which is then combined with oxygen to make sulfur trioxide. So the sulfur dioxide gets pumped over here. These are all producing oxygen. They have normally they have the hydrogen turned off so that they just produce the lots of oxygen for us. But I was charging up my jetpack and needed it. So you can see this one's dumping oxygen. So the oxygen gets pumped into here, makes sulfur trioxide, which gets pumped out, goes underneath the floor. There's a whole hallway underneath that has all sorts of other machines. Well, mostly just piping and power. But the sulfur trioxide comes over here, comes up through these pipes, into these chemical infusers, and both of these are making sulfuric acid with the help of these rotary condensators. These are both just producing water vapor in order to make the sulfuric acid. And then the sulfuric acid gets pumped down underneath and sent over to the ore processing. So that's all of the gas side of this production system. Now, one thing is this uses a ton of sulfur to keep it going. That sulfuric acid, the sulfur trioxide and sulfuric acid gets used pretty quickly. And I need my jetpack again. So we come over here, and sulfuric acid gets pumped into, comes up from underneath. I haven't done anything with the floor in here yet. into this chemical dissolution chamber, and let's take a little bit of gold. This process is really super slow, so I don't want to use too much of it. Let me guess, I got 1 bar worth that I lost out of this. Normally it wouldn't lose any, but I'm splitting up the output just to speed it up a little bit. And the whole purpose of this entire machine, the whole chain of machines with mechanism, is to take a single, like if I put 1 ore, well, 1 ore isn't going to do, but I put 7 in, 1 ore is probably going to get more, it'll lose some. So this chemical dissolution chamber takes sulfuric acid, melts down the ore blocks, sends out this slurry into these chemical washers, and this is going to get really loud, so let's turn the volume way down. Sends this slurry into these chemical washers, which take the gold slurry, and it outputs a clean gold slurry, which then from these 2 washers gets piped out into these 2 crystallizers, which turn the slurry into these gold crystals. Then these gold crystals are injected with sulfuric acid. Normally the recipe is actually calling for this hydrogen chloride that we're using over here. But if you if you use sulfuric acid, then it also works. So sulfuric acid is more readily available than the hydrogen chloride. So that's what we're using. So these crystals go in, get injected with sulfuric acid, and they come out over here as gold shards. And I've got this machine upgraded so it goes faster. And then those get pumped out into this crusher. And these are also all factory machines so that they can produce, or they can work on several items simultaneously. So this is a crushing factory, has 5 slots that it can work on. This gold gets crushed into, if we go over here, gets crushed into dirty gold dust, which gets enriched to make gold dust. And then the gold dust goes into the smelter, and the rest is history. We get gold bars out of that. And you can see process takes a little while to go through. I think if we look here, that one's empty. This is getting there, and that's getting there. So quite a bit left to go, but we've already got double our ore through that is completed, just in the process of describing this part. So that's working absolutely wonderfully. With having the 2 crystallizers, we end up losing a little bit of ore, and I might actually even add a 3rd, which would potentially lose us up to, 2 or maybe 2.5 bars of material off of each processing batch. Now, if you were to process more of the same material, then it would still combine and it'd still work. So you just have to keep processing more of the same ore. We could even actually make several lines of these crystallizers that are for each different material, and then we wouldn't lose anything. So that's certainly an option, but that takes quite a bit of resources, and I'm not quite that motivated yet. Don't really have a place for it quite yet either. I guess I can keep building upwards, but you can see there's half a bar and half a bar. Each bar is 200 slurry, turns it into the shards, which goes through the rest of the process. But looks like the last parts are coming through now. So let's let those go through. And I've got a lot of these machines upgraded so they work really super fast. They just use a ton of power to do it. So there we go. Our 7 ore that we put in got us 34 gold ingots. So this thing works quite well. Now, you'll notice that over here, whoops, this machine takes gunpowder to turn into sulfur. So how are we getting our gunpowder? Because we need gunpowder for other things as well. Oh, need to glitch into a block apparently. Now, for gunpowder, there's another line of mechanism machines that we can use to make that. And we're starting with the igneous extruders to make cobblestone. And so those are kind of standard. They go into this crusher, which turns them into gravel. Now the gravel goes into this purifier, which is taking in oxygen, and the purifier turns the gravel into flint. And then the flint we stick into another crusher to turn it into gunpowder. So this whole line works really, really well. Makes us tons of gunpowder. It's also super loud, and I've already got a pretty good supply of gunpowder left stored up now. Over 1,000, so that's working quite nicely. Now, the one other thing, let's see, did I put... I did not. Let's grab a stack of cobblestone. I had one in my inventory already, but oh well. We're going to make some more sand with the pulverizer, which also gives us a little bit of gravel, but don't really care about that. And I want to show you just how fast this smeltery is, this smelting factory. I've got the maximum amount of speed add-ons in here, so it's really, really fast and it's pretty cool. Over here, I've started working on the cooling tower. Basically, what this is going to be for, its primary purpose, is a location where we can put a ton of these aqueous accumulators and connect them all up into a couple of tesseracts in order to power any water needs that we have, which will include the salination plants as well. And one of the things that will be using a lot of water is when we convert this reactor into an actively cooled reactor. Right now, it's just a basic reactor, and inside of it, I've got redstone, liquid redstone, to transfer the heat from the control rods out to the casing so that our temperatures stay a little bit more balanced. Now, unfortunately, I'm not using enough power to actually trigger this thing to run at full power. Would probably need a couple of stacks of sand to melt into glass to actually do it. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll just load this thing up, get a whole bunch of sand, and we'll run the smeltery at full power, as well as the... no, we'll just run the smeltery at full power, because the other one's too noisy. In the meantime, while this thing is doing its business, I think that it's about time that we really joined the arms race, because Fwip and Hannibal have been quite busy. See, under here is where all of the cabling and piping is being run. A little bit messy, but it works, and I think it actually looks kind of cool with all the pipes running everywhere down here. One thing to note is, even though these covers visually separate these pressurized tubes, if you have, like, say if you had this tube here was running down this line right here, and you had another tube running down this line, even though the covers visually separate those two tubes, they aren't actually separated. They still are connected, which I don't know what's up with that. That's kind of annoying. Over here is where the gunpowder line is at, and all the smelting factory is over on this side. And then down here, I've got this long tunnel that goes back to the other cave, and I've also started putting together some power armor. So right now this just has some speed mods on it, so we can go super, super fast. And I also found another interesting thing, which is if we put our hang glider on, and if you hold shift, it makes you go forward in the hang glider really fast, and you can then fly to the ceiling, and it will glitch out, but you can fly super fast through the hallways like that. So let's go over here. Now we've got gunpowder and we've got iron. Let's see, what kind of gun do we want? I think I'm kind of leaning towards either the M5 or MP5 or maybe this M16A4. I don't know how many bullets the M16 has. We could go get some quartz and do the Barrett. I know that's a pretty powerful gun. And G3 looks like it's not too bad on the supplies for ammo. The iron is the bigger concern for the ammo. The MP5 only takes 3 iron per clip, but I don't think the clips last very long on that gun. Got a mini Uzi. Let's see. What do we want? If you guys have some advice on what types of guns are the most effective, then that would certainly help. I know our power armor, once we actually get all the mods in, we can do some interesting things with that. Let's go get some stuff. I believe we have some... let's see if it's still over here. We should have fiberglass somewhere around here. Unless somebody moved it. There's these radio chips that we can use when we're not recording. Anybody seen some fiberglass? There's 4. I think we needed 5. I made a stack of this stuff at one point. Did we really use that much of it? Huh. Let's see, what does this need? Clay and sand mixture. Okay. Do we have some clay? Do we have sand over here, for that matter? I do not know. The sand is easy enough to fix. What about clay? I don't see any clay over here. Well, that's rather unfortunate. Oh wait, there's some clay. Okay, let's make some more of the fiberglass here. This one is slow compared to the one in the main, in the ore factory. Okay, that should be enough. Okay, let's go ahead. I like the idea of this Barrett 50 cal as well. Let's grab one of those, grab a few clips of ammo. Aim down the sights. That's cool. Let's see, do we have quartz over here? I don't know if we have any nether quartz. I think I took that to the other base. Or to the factory, rather. I should move the rest of the project chest over there as well. How are we doing for fuel? We got 2 more. Is there Eulorium in here? Let's put the rest of this Eulorium in the reactor so we don't actually lose access to it. And we'll take this sand with us. Let's go back to the other, to the factory and get some nether quartz. But yeah, as long as you don't get stuck on the sides like I am right now, you can go super, super fast. But I think the running is actually faster. Okay, let's find... Do I have any left? There we go. Let's Toss some more of that. Almost enough to make a decent showing of it. So let's go ahead and, as long as you don't get stuck on the sides, I might actually widen this tunnel another block. Okay, let's grab a Barrett 50 cal and some ammo. And let's take a look and see what this gun looks like. Aim down the sights. Oh, that's nice. 10 shots a clip. Don't open the door with the gun in your hand. Get out from under the cloud. I would say we need to restart the tree farm, but we're not exactly hurting for resources at this point. Or at least, not hurting for wood anyway. Let's do this. Let's go and see what the Fwipster's up to. Boy, they made a mess out of no man's land here. Off we go, jump! Let's see if we can spot him. Whoops. Wrong button. Now, I happen to know that they have a turret around one side of their place. Aw, he's not wearing a hat. Nothing to say we can't put a warning shot, say, right about there. Oh, he didn't notice. Ooh, they got a creeper statue over there. I can't tell if he actually noticed us or not. I don't think he did. It's too bad there's not something that I could actually hit that would make a noise by him. Okay, so he's not wearing a hat, so we can't actually engage. Technically, we're not wearing a hat either, but I'm invading their territory, so if he is wearing a hat, then he's fair game. Anyway, let's head back over to our base. Let's, yeah, I saw a screenshot of this. This is... Oh, there's mycelium in there. Ah, I see something interesting. I also see silverfish. Get us some iron while we're out here. Yeah, so I don't know what they ignited out here, but it made a huge mess. Guess technically that's kind of what No Man's Land is for, and it wouldn't quite be war without a huge crater between the two teams. It's kind of cool in a way. Okay, well, let's head back over to our base and see if we have a large enough supply of sand yet. They got blocks all over the place in our territory, though. Off we go. Rendering is kind of weird sometimes, but What's taking damage? Oh, that's disappointing. Luo got us a penguin and named it Knight Jr. for who knows why, but he's been running around the factory here for the last several days, and apparently he just got stuck. That's sad. Okay, this should be enough to kind of give a demonstration of how fast this thing is. So we're just going to toss these in, and now you can actually see those bars go. And you can see it's using 10,000 RF per tick, which is going to drain down the power on our reactor pretty quickly. I don't know if... yeah, this is probably not going to drain it down far enough to see the reactor at full power. But I have seen the reactor going over 9,000 RF per tick with it just as it is now. So it does a pretty decent job, and there's all done already. It's amazing how fast that thing is. Now, one thing with this ore processing, because it's super slow, sometimes there are ores that are a little bit more common that we don't want to necessarily wait for. So you can take those, like I'm going to do the short process with lead. If you start the process here, you get 5 bars for every ore block that you put in. If you start the process here with this purifier, you get 3 bars per ore that you put in. So it's still a pretty good return, not quite as good as it would be going through the full process, but it's significantly faster. And I could actually even add more upgrades to these last 4 machines, and I probably will. Probably will make some more speed upgrades just to speed this up even more. But you can see it goes really quick here. You see as it runs each batch, it generates a whole bunch more. And yeah, so this does pretty good already on its own. And that's 4, that one's 5, this one's at full speed at 9 times. So this one, I can't actually upgrade this one anymore, but I can get more on these last few machines to make them all just that much faster. Of course, that also means they use significantly more power, but that's why we have this huge reactor, and we'll be switching up to big turbines as well once we get a bit more resources going. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you guys learned a little bit more about the Mechanism Ore Processing series. Basically, I'll even include a link to the Mechanism Wiki that shows all of the process, so you can actually see what the machines are doing and what the chain of events is, just to help out. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully we will actually be getting into some combat, a little bit more combat here pretty soon. With that, I hope you guys enjoyed. I've said that like 4 times now. Anyway, see you guys next time. Bye!